and gentlemen, an absolutely wonderful, wonderful lady who stands for the rights of women, a true feminist, and yes, very proudly says that in her time, in this industry, she has been one of the top leading female bosses in advertising. Well, yes, she is truly someone who's brought the future into today. And ladies and gentlemen, she is very, very happy and proud to make way for more women in this industry. And here she's about to talk about the future of advertising. So, well, if you are ready, let's go ahead, put our hands together, and welcome on stage the CEO of the lady who started 2 premier companies, IfWeRanTheWorld.com and MakeLoveNotPorn.com. Ladies and gentlemen, let me gallop away and welcome on stage Cindy Gallop.
Guys, I'm absolutely thrilled to be here today for 3 reasons. The first is that I was last in Kochi 18 years ago when I took a wonderful vacation here, and so I'm thrilled to be back. The second reason is that I could not be more honored to be the opening keynote at the IA India Chapter's Silver Jubilee Summit. And obviously, by the way, I couldn't be more honored to have had the chance, where else could I dance with Shah Rukh Khan on the stage? The third reason I'll come on to in a moment. But I want to share with you one of my favorite quotes of all time. I normally end just about every presentation I do with this quote, but in this particular instance, for you, I want to begin my presentation with it. And that quote is Alan Kay, one of the fathers of computer science, who said, "In order to predict the future, you have to invent it." I am all about inventing the future. Too many people think the future is something that happens without us, rolls us over in its wake. I'm all about decide the future you want to see and then make it happen. And that is what every single one of you in this room today has the opportunity to do. And that is what the Indian advertising industry has the opportunity to do. Because the third reason I'm thrilled to be here is that earlier this year, I served as the jury president at Cannes for a new Cannes Lions Award, the Glass Lion. The Glass Lion is an award that was recommended by Sheryl Sandberg of Facebook, and it celebrates advertising that shatters gender stereotypes. And the Glass Lion, much to my surprise and delight, turned out to be a celebration of Indian creativity. India was the only country to win 2 Glass Lions. To win not only a Glass Lion, India won a Glass Lion, both of them, by the way, from the same agency, BBDO Mumbai, for the same client, Procter & Gamble, a Glass Lion for Ariel for the Share the Load campaign, and the Grand Prix Glass Lion for an amazing campaign for Whisper, which was called Touch the Pickle. And the reason I was so thrilled to see this display of Indian creativity was because both campaigns took socio-cultural contexts in India that have been that way for a very long time and innovated and disrupted them. And what that indicates is the enormous opportunity that exists in India today to take the way things have always been done and to do them differently in a way that will enable you to design a much better and more lucrative future for both the Indian advertising industry and for India itself. And so I want to talk to you today about the opportunity for India to do 4 things. To change the way you do business, to change the way you make money, to change the way you create, and to change the world through advertising. And yes, it really can be done through advertising, and I'm going to tell you how. Number 1, the reason you have to change the way you do business is because you cannot do New World Order business from an Old World Order place. All companies and agencies are Old World Order places because their systems and processes and structures are born of a time when the process used to be linear. The way it worked in our industry, once upon a time, was, first of all, you shot the big TV commercial. Then you shot the matching print ads. Then you did everything else, including that final thing called a website. Today, everything's changed, but the systems and processes and structures still haven't. It doesn't actually matter how brilliant any of you think I am today. It doesn't actually matter if anything I say to you today sparks inspirational thinking in your brains. It doesn't actually matter what innovative, disruptive ideas any of you have as a result of anything I or any of the other wonderful speakers say to you in the course of this conference. If you go back to the office on Monday morning and you plug all that brilliance, all that inspiration, and all that innovation and disruption back into the same old world order systems and processes, you will get the same old world order rubbish out the other end. So, you have to redesign the way you do business. And when you do, you have the opportunity to get to the place we all want to get to, which is less work, more money. That's my ambition. I hope it's your ambition as well, and it's the ambition I would like to see the Indian advertising industry have. Less work, more money. Now, you might be thinking, it's all very well for her standing on that stage to talk about redesigning the way we do business. How can we do that? Well, it's a lot easier and simpler than you'd think. I get a lot of people coming to me for advice on career crises, midlife crises, business venture issues. And I always ask them to do the same two things. And interestingly, they're the same two things you should do, whether you're a person who's lost your way or whether you're a business who's lost your way. The first thing you should do is identify what it is that you absolutely love doing, that you're passionate about. If you're in a job currently, take everything you do in that job, be ruthless, strike from the record everything you hate doing, focus in only on what you love doing. And interestingly, when you conduct this exercise, quite often the things you really love doing in your job are not necessarily numbers 1, 2, and 3 on your job spec. So, number 1, identify what it is that you really love doing, and number 2, identify the conditions under which you most love doing it. So you might go, I really love doing this, I'm passionate about this. I particularly love it when I only do it between these hours. I really love it only working with these kinds of people. Maybe you particularly love it when you only do it with these kinds of clients. Maybe you love it when you only do it from this one location, or these 2 locations. And then design an opportunity, a job, a venture around those 2 things. Because then it never feels like work. Because you're doing what you most love doing in the circumstances in which you most love doing it. Redesign your business along exactly these 2 same principles. Identify as a business what it is you really love doing, you're passionate about, the reason you are founded in the first place. Because businesses lose sight of that over time. Businesses go, oh look, the competition over there is doing that, we should do that too. Oh look, they added one of those divisions, we should have one too. And over time, businesses morph and change into something they were never intended to be. So identify what you love doing as a business, and then identify the conditions in which you are at your best doing it. And when you redesign your business around those 2 things, not only do you give yourself and your employees a much happier working life, it is also enormously cost-effective. You strip out whole layers of overhead and cost when you redesign your business around those 2 things. And the important thing about that is that everything starts with you and your values. Whether you're a person or a business, identify what it is that you value, what you believe in, what you stand for, and then everything should flow out of that. Because when you are a values-based organization, when you are a values-driven business, you have the opportunity to create what is absolutely critical to do business today, and particularly critical for our industry, for real-time responsiveness, which is you create a high-trust working environment. A couple of years ago in the US, something happened at the Super Bowl which became a huge case study in our industry. You may remember this. At the Super Bowl 2 years ago, all the lights flew, and in complete darkness, Oreo Cookies tweeted an ad that said, "You can still dunk in the dark," and showed a glass of milk and Oreo cookies, playing on the fact that many people like to dunk Oreo cookies in milk. That ad was massively tweeted, went viral around the world, but the way that ad happened was that the client and the agency, ahead of the Super Bowl, created a war room. They put in that war room everybody on the client side and everyone on the agency side who was needed to create and approve an ad instantly, and they said to that core team, "We trust you. You all know what this brand stands for. You all know what the brand values are. You know what the brand tone of voice is. If anything happens within the Super Bowl and you see a topical creative opportunity, get all over it, create something, put it out there. We trust you to do whatever you believe is right." That is how you operate in today's real-time, response-driven environment. And that is the opposite of the old world order corporate structure. Because the old world corporate structure, the hierarchical structure, is based on the idea that the person at the top does not trust the people below him or her, doesn't trust people below them, and it's one big cascade of low trust all the way down. We need to reverse that to create a high-trust working environment, and that begins with identifying your values and then living them. And the second thing you need to do is you need to redesign and change the way you make money. Because our industry's business model is broken, and you need to design a new one. And the reason I make this point is that I come across too many people who believe either there is only one business model for our industry, this is the only way we've ever made money, it's the only way we'll ever make money, or who think there is a set number of business models out there and we have to adopt one of those. Neither is true. Your business model can be anything you want it to be. And a really good place to start redesigning it is to ask yourself, how would I like to make money? Because the way we're making money now in this industry is no fun. How would you like to make money? And design your business model around that. Now, I'm not one of these speakers who stands up here pontificating. Everything I talk to you about today, I am doing myself. I'm trying, I'm experimenting, I'm failing, I'm trying again. So I designed my own business model. I believe the future of business and our industry is doing good and making money simultaneously, not separately. And so I mean that not as the way it currently works, where brands go, we make money here, and then we do good by writing checks to causes to clear our conscience over here. I'm talking about the new world order way of we make money because we do good. We find a way to integrate social responsibility into the way we do business on a day-to-day basis that therefore makes it a key driver of future growth and profitability. I want to see a world where the more good you do, the more money you make, and the more money you make, the more good you do. And so I believe the business model of the future is shared values plus shared action equals shared profit, financial profit and social profit. In other words, when brands and companies and businesses come together with their consumers on the basis of values that you all share, which, by the way, is the most important requirement for a good relationship in life as much as business. You will never truly bond if you don't share the same values. And when you are all then enabled to collaboratively and collectively co-act on those values, to walk the talk together, you can then make things happen in the real world that will benefit consumers, benefit society, and benefit the brand and its business. I believe this so strongly that I started a business around it. If We Around the World is co-action software that enables brands to implement this business model. But again, it's all about starting with your values. So if you go to the homepage of ifweroundtheworld.com, you will see it is deliberately Google-esque in its simplicity. All it says is, if I ran the world, I would, and a box, nothing else. This is a platform you cannot access unless you answer the question, if you ran the world, what would you do? Because that is a very good question for making you really think about what you're all about, what you believe in, what matters to you. And when I was building this site, my tech team brought this homepage to me, and they said to me, Cindy, we've designed this exactly the way you told us to, very, very simple, but we're worried that when people land on this homepage, they'll be a bit phased. So they said, we've put a button in the box to show them that when they fill in the box, there is somewhere else to go beyond it. And I said to them, no, take the button out of the box. I want people to be phased, because I want this homepage to force a few moments of what very rarely happens in our lives today, which is self-reflection. So what this is about is the fact that today's marketing is very much about co-creation. Brands invite consumers to create content and share it. But I believe the marketing of the future is about co-action. Brands and consumers acting together on shared values to make amazing things happen. And what that delivers is a benefit that I call action branding, where you self-identify and self-express as an individual or a brand as, I am what I do. I am the sum of my actions. Now, there's another very interesting opportunity to redesign our industry business model. And in order to tell you about that, I need to tell you about my other startup. So I date younger men. They tend to be men in their 20s. And through dating younger men, I began realizing about 7 or 8 years ago now that I was encountering an issue that would quite honestly never have crossed my mind if I'd not encountered it very intimately and personally. I realized I was encountering what happens when two things converge. When today's total freedom of access to hardcore pornography online meets our society's equally total reluctance to talk openly and honestly about sex, and results in porn becoming by default the sex education of today in not a good way. So I found myself encountering a number of sexual behavioral memes. I went, whoa, I know where that behavior is coming from. I thought, gosh, if I'm experiencing this, other people must be as well. And being a very action-driven person, I went, I want to do something about this. So 6.5 years ago, I put up on no money a tiny, clunky little website at MakeLoveNotPorn.com that posts the myths of hardcore porn and balances them with reality. The construct is porn world versus real world. I had the opportunity to launch Make Love Not Porn at the TED conference in 2009. I took a deliberate decision to be very explicit in my TED talk because I knew that audience would not get this issue unless I was very straightforward about it. As a result, my TED talk is very notorious. If you Google me, you'll find it. The talk went viral, and it drove an extraordinary response to my tiny, clunky website that I had never anticipated. And the most extraordinary thing was not just instantly huge traffic to the site from every country in the world, including India, but the most extraordinary thing is that every single day for the past 6.5 years, and this is ongoing, I have received thousands of emails, and they come from everybody. They come from young people and old people, men and women, straight and gay, from every country in the world, again from India as well. And even before the website that I put up, what amazes people is simply the fact I stood on the stage in public, I talked about, and I'm doing something about what everybody knows and no one ever speaks about. And as a result, people feel able to tell me anything. People pour their hearts out to me in email. People tell me things about their sex lives and their porn-watching habits they have never told anyone else before. They write to me for advice. 15-year-old boys write, 50-year-old women write. And it was the sheer cumulative impact of all of these emails arriving, day after day after day, that eventually made me feel that I now had a personal responsibility. I had to take this initiative forwards in a way that would make it much more far-reaching, helpful, and effective. So what I decided to do was, I should emphasize, Make Love Not Porn is not anti-porn because the issue isn't porn. The issue is the total absence in our society of an open, healthy, honest conversation around sex in the real world, which, if we had it, would, among many other benefits, also mean people would then bring a real-world mindset when they view what is simply artificial entertainment. Our tagline is pro-sex, pro-porn, pro-knowing the difference. And our mission is purely and simply to help make it easier for people to talk about sex. Talk about sex openly and honestly in the public domain, and talk about sex openly and honestly privately in their intimate relationships. So, what I decided to do, therefore, was to take every dynamic that exists out there in social media currently and apply them to the one area that no other social network or platform is ever going to go, in order to socialize sex, to make real-world sex and the discussion around it socially acceptable, and therefore just as socially shareable as anything else we currently share on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram. So 2.5 years ago, my team and I launched MakeLoveNotPorn.tv. This is an entirely user-generated, crowdsourced video sharing platform that celebrates real-world sex. It's a .com site brought to life. I'm a great believer in communication through demonstration. So anybody from anywhere in the world can submit videos of themselves having real-world sex, and we are very clear what we mean by this. We are not porn. We're not amateur. We are building a whole new category that does not currently exist: social sex. Our competition isn't porn, it's Facebook and YouTube. Or it would be if Facebook and YouTube allowed sexual self-expression and self-identification. So real-world sex videos and Make Love Not Porn are not about performing for the camera. They're simply about doing what you do on every other social platform, which is capturing what goes on in the real world in all its funny, messy, glorious, silly, wonderful, beautiful humanness. My team curates, we watch everybody to make sure it's real, and we have a revenue-sharing business model. I designed Make Love Not Porn around the business model of the future. We are part of the sharing economy, just like Uber and Airbnb. You pay to rent and stream real-world sex videos, and then 50% of that income goes to our contributors, or as we like to call them, our Make Love Not Porn stars. Because we would like our Make Love Not Porn stars one day to be as famous and celebrated as YouTube stars, for the same reasons: their authenticity, their individuality, their realness, and we would like them to make just as much money. We want to hit the kind of critical mass where one day your Make Love Not Porn video could hit 1 million rentals at $5 per rental, and we give you half that revenue. Now, when I embarked on this venture, I had no idea my team and I would fight a battle every single day to build it. Essentially because every piece of business infrastructure any other startup can at least take for granted, we can't, because the small print always says no adult content. We can't get banked. We can't put payment systems in place. PayPal won't work with us. Mainstream credit card processors won't work with us. Tech services are reluctant to host us. Amazon Web Services won't host us. We had to build our entire video streaming platform from scratch ourselves, because off-the-shelf services won't stream adult content. Despite this, we are doing very well. We have over 400,000 members. We began generating revenue on day one. Our monthly income is in the very low 5 figures, but in a world where the received wisdom is nobody pays for porn, they're paying for real-world sex. A number of our Make Love Not Porn stars are making 4 figures at each payout. We are the answer to the economy, and we are working. A 23-year-old man wrote to us a few months ago and said, "I love your website, thank you so much. I've been looking for someone else for a long time." He said, "Your website makes me want to have sex in a more grown-up, honest, and respectful way." But if we're that successful fighting this battle, imagine how much more successful we'll be with those obstacles removed. So I'm fighting this battle very publicly, because the answer to everything that worries me about porn is not to shut down, censor, clamp down, block, repress. It's to open up. Open up the dialogue in the way we're working to with Make Love Not Porn. Open up to welcoming, supporting, and funding the entrepreneurs who want to disrupt all of this for the better. and open up to allowing us to do business on the same terms as everybody else. Amitabh Kant talked yesterday evening about the importance of opening up India for Make in India as a startup-driven economy. I would love to see India welcome sex tech. Because, guys, apart from anything else, oh my God, the money to be made. But the money to be made in two areas. The second one of which nobody even thinks about currently, because nobody even thinks it's possible. First of all, obviously the money to be made out of sex. We all have it, we all enjoy it, recession-proof, market never goes away. But secondly, oh my God, the money to be made out of socially acceptable sex. When you do what we're doing with Make Love Not Porn, socialize sex, make it socially acceptable and socially shareable, you potentially double, triple, quadruple your returns when you normalize people feeling really okay about publicly buying into goods and services, publicly doing what they do with everything else, which is advocate, share, recommend, and publicly badging themselves as brand ambassadors. That's the trillion-dollar financial future we're going after. And the proof of how achievable it is out there right now. Because at this moment in time, the single highest income-grossing author in the world is E.L. James. The author of 50 Shades of Grey has out-earned Dan Brown, Michael Crichton, Jim Patterson. 50 Shades of Grey, the movie, broke box office opening weekend records. That is the financial power of socially acceptable, socially shareable sex. As this post in TechCrunch about us back in April said, socially acceptable sex is a huge market. More interestingly, it's a huge new market. So, I would love you to make Indian Love Not Porn because I know I don't have to tell any one of you in this audience how badly India needs what we're doing. India is regularly one of our highest sources of traffic. Close behind, our highest source of traffic is the US, the second highest is China, but India is usually in the top 5 or 6 close behind that. I get emails from Indian people all the time. I got an email from a 17-year-old Indian boy last year. His email was one line. He said, please tell me what sex is, I want to know. And so what you may find interesting is that we are a global platform. One of the things we want to do at Make Love Not Porn is we want to help countries reclaim their national sexual identity. Because every country has one. National heritage, national values, national stereotypes exist around sex just as much as they do around other forms of behavior like cooking or eating. It's just we never talk about it. But anyone who has ever loved their way around the world can testify. People make love differently based on the culture, society, country they come from, or rather they used to. Porn is now homogenizing sex globally. And so I would like to open up this dialogue at a national level in India. Because India needs to have a dialogue around what are your values around real-world sex. As I said earlier, everything starts with your values. I ask people, what are your sexual values? And nobody can answer me because we're not taught to think like that. Many of us, if we're fortunate, are born into families where our parents bring us up to have good manners, a work ethic, a sense of responsibility, accountability. Nobody ever brings us up to behave well in bed. But they should. Because kindness, generosity, sensitivity, empathy are as important there as they are in every other area of our lives and work where we are taught to exercise those values. So I would love India to make Indian Love Not Porn. I'd like to instill a sense of national pride. I wouldn't mind instilling a sense of national competitiveness. We love the Olympics of real-world sex playing out on Make Love Not Porn. But I think this is particularly important for the country that has the Kama Sutra. And so I'm telling you this for 2 reasons. The first is obviously, I would love to launch Make Love Not Porn India. I need investors, strategic partners. And so please contact me. But also because Make Love Not Porn has made me ferociously interested in the future of money. And so I can tell you that the future of advertising is bound up with the future of payments. Many things are happening in fintech and the future of payments that enable us to change the business model in our industry. The third thing I want to ask you to do is change the way you create. Men in the audience, I just want to talk to you. Ladies, bear with me. Men, it's very comfortable hiring people like you. It's very comfortable working with people like you. It's very comfortable founding businesses with people like you. It's very comfortable hanging out with people like you. If you want to own the future, you have to get uncomfortable. Because working with women is uncomfortable, but the future is gender equal. And so it's uncomfortable because we have other insights, other perspectives. Women challenge the status quo because we are never it. And so out of discomfort comes greatness, because innovation disruption comes from many different mindsets and perspectives coming together to get to somewhere we couldn't have gotten to otherwise. If you start an advertising agency today with an all-male founding team, you will never own the future. If you run a company today with an all-male leadership team, you will never own the future. And so I would love to urge you to break the closed loop of men talking to men about other men, because the new creativity is female-informed. Yeah. Women buy. We are the majority purchasers and influencers of purchase in every sector. Women share. Social media is simply a whole new methodology for us to do what we've been doing since the dawn of time, which is sharing everything in a way that men don't, gossiping, talking, chatting. And let me tell you, there is a huge amount of money to be made out of taking women seriously. When you do hire women, bulk buy, bring in groups, not individuals, because you will see change faster. And you will also prevent the apocalypse. Who here has seen the movie Mad Max Fury Road? Show of hands? Oh, unfortunately not very many of you. Well, Mad Max Fury Road is a feminist movie. The real hero is Charlize Theron as Imperator Furiosa. And so there is a wonderful thing called the Mad Max Feminist Tumblr, and I would love to urge you men to think about working with women like this. Hey girl, here's an idea, but it's up to you. You're the boss of this operation. Hey girl, I drive. Or you can drive, that's cool. Actually, can I nap while you drive? Do you ever sleep? Hey girl, I'll be your supporting character. Hey girl, it's not possible to survive alone out here. Thanks for rescuing me. Men, it's not possible to survive alone out there. We need to rescue each other. You can use my shoulder as a rifle stand, as you're the better shot of the two of us. Mutual support. I've never seen such a group of varied, complex, and badass female action heroes. I'm glad to be riding with you. There are many of them in our industry. Let's all work together. And that way, we can save the world. Because we need to move from an emphasis on making good advertising to making advertising good. We need advertising to become a force for good if we want our industry to have a future. Change happens from the bottom up, not the top down. Everything in life and business starts with a micro-action. Do small things to change the world for advertising. Change the genders. Don't put the girl in the kitchen with mom, the boy in the soccer field with dad. Flip the genders. Shah Rukh Khan said yesterday, it's not about conquering women, it's about partnering with women. And in the advertising we create, we can depict that. And so I want to end with just some final points. The biggest obstacle I have with Make Love Not Porn is a social dynamic I call fear of what other people will think. Fear of what other people think is the most paralyzing dynamic in business and in life. You will never own the future if you care what other people think. So design the future you want without worrying about that. Change the world to fit you, not the other way around. Create the conditions for your success. And my last point. In every industry at the moment, you will see the syndrome I call collaborative competition. Collaborative competition is when everybody in a sector competes with the rest of the sector by doing exactly the same thing everyone else in the sector is doing. Bad idea. Allows real innovation to come in from the outside. The future is competitive collaboration. When all of us come together and collaborate in a way that we don't see currently, to collectively help each other on the premise of a rising tide floats all boats, that is what then allows each of us, on the top of that, to be uniquely competitive, leveraging our own individual skills and talents. Over the next 2 days, you have an amazing opportunity here to competitively collaborate, to get together and design the future you want to see. And I would love to urge all of you to make that happen. because you can invent the future to be the future you want to work in. India, the Indian advertising industry, and every one of you, thank you very much.